Here are some free tools that you can use to come up with your brand identity. First, let's figure out what colors you're going to use. If you already have a color that you're passionate about, that might be the best way to start out. But if you have no idea for what color you like or any sort of color palette, Design Seeds is a great website to start out with. I love just browsing on this website. It's actually design-seeds.com. I'm going to include links to all of these tools in the next lesson so you can easily get to them. Basically, you can go on here. I like just going up to the blog and kind of scrolling through. What they do is they find images and then they take colors from those images and come up with a color palette. Now, you might not know exactly how to use these color palettes in programs like Adobe Photoshop, but these hex codes, these color codes down here underneath the colors, are very important because you'll be using them like in the programs Photoshop, but also when you're building your website, you're going to find lots of times where you have to actually plug in this code. So you'll want to save that code when you have a color that you want. So Design Seeds is a great way just to get inspiration, and maybe there's a color palette that you end up liking. Having one main color is a good idea because people can identify your brand with that color, but then having supplemental colors helps you change it up because you don't always want to be posting photos and graphics with just one color. It's better to have a few, and if they complement each other and look good, that's even better. You don't want to just pick random colors. This is one way to kind of pick random colors together. They're from photos, so they look good. But there's other ways to find more scientifically get color palettes. Peloton is one website, peloton.com. And when you log on or just open the website, this is what you'll see. You can move this color around over here if you want, or if you have a single color code that you like, you can type it in here in the base color. So I have my base color, which is this teal color. And then with Peloton, what you can do is change the complementary colors. So here it's complementing it with shades. So you have these lighter shades, darker shades. But if you click these little dials up here, you get different types of complementary colors. Adjacent colors, triad, tetrad, if you want 4. And then you can save this by doing share palette or export. So this is one way to get quickly scientific colors that complement each other. Colors or Coolors, COOLORS.co, is how I came up with my color palette for Video School Online. If you click generate up here at the top, what you can do is just sort of scroll through different palettes. So you press the space bar to generate a new palette. But what happens is if you do have that single color that you have already to start out with, or if you like one of these, you can lock it in place and then scroll through more options. So for example, if I go down here and edit it and turn it into my teal option, and then I click lock, and then I press spacebar, it will scroll through different palette colors except for that one that I've locked. So what I basically did was sat here, I did this, I scrolled through some, and then I was like, okay, well, I actually kind of like this one that kind of matches the style, so I'll lock it. And then I would go through again, pressing spacebar, looking for maybe something that's a little bit more orange or something. This is close, but it's a little too sort of saturated. I want a little bit more gray. So what I can do is adjust. So I can take this, I can adjust the saturation down a little bit to get more of the tone that I'm looking at. I can make it darker, brighter, etc. So let's just make it a little darker, a little less saturated. Okay, cool. Then I can lock it. So you can kind of do that and keep doing it and then export it or save it. And I use this all the time. I have my colors that I use 5 colors in all my graphics now. So that's colors. What about photos? Photos are a big part of any brand, and if you're not a photographer and if you don't have a budget to shoot photos for your brand, you're going to be trying to find photos online. There are great websites that you can purchase stock photos from, but what about some good, high quality free photos? There are 3 websites I want to mention. One is unsplash.com, the next is pexels.com, and the next is pixabay.com. And don't worry, I'm going to include links to all of these in the next lesson so you can easily get to them. As you can see, automatically when you go on these websites, the quality of the photo is super high. Now, the catalog isn't huge, but for most companies, for most brands, you'll find some super duper high quality photos. So for example, for me, I do a lot of video production kind of things. So when I type in video, I get a lot of cool stuff. People carrying cameras, individual cameras, and these, while I would like to go out and shoot photos myself, sometimes it's just easier to find photos for free. Sometimes the photos are the same on each of these sites. Sometimes I'll see the photos that are on these sites on multiple websites because a lot of people end up using these websites. So be aware of that. Try to use photos that aren't too cliche. There's some when you see them, you're like, okay, that's been used a million times probably already. But use them as you see fit. All of these websites, it's free to use for commercial or non-commercial uses. Lastly, fonts. You have all your traditional fonts probably on your computer, but maybe you want to find a font that's more unique for your brand. A couple websites are dafont.com, dafont.com, and fontsquirrel.com. Fontsquirrel.com, all of these should be free to use fonts for commercial purposes. With dafont.com, when you find a font, you have to make sure that it says free for personal use. And it will say over here on the right hand side. You can search by style. So say you're looking for something that's a little eroded look or something like that. You can see all these eroded looks. You can even type in your brand. Say you're trying to come up with a logo or something. So say I do Video School Online. I can see what these would look like in Video School Online. Ooh, super cool, Video School Online. And I could even search by free for commercial use. So 100% free, that's what I would select, not just free for personal use. And here are the ones that are free for personal and commercial use. FontSquirrel is the same thing, but all of them should be 100% free for commercial use. Remember though, simplicity is the key with brand graphics. It's more timeless, so don't go too crazy with a font. I'll bet that if you pick something that's a little too creative, that a year or two down the road, you're going to be wishing that you picked something a little bit more clean. Thanks so much. I hope you enjoyed these resources, and we'll see you in the next lesson.